Senator Kennedy, welcome. It's good to see you here again. I want to begin my time by talking about the issue of federal deregulation of chemical abortion drugs. Since mifepristone was approved in 2000, 25 years ago, the FDA has steadily stripped away safeguards related to this drug, no longer requiring a doctor's prescription, no follow-up visits, no adverse event reporting, and now allowing it to be sent through the mail. Earlier this year, there was a new study that analyzed 865,000 real-world insurance claims, and it found that nearly 11% of women experienced a serious adverse event within 45 days of taking mifepristone.
That's not a small margin of error. That's more than 1 in 10 women, and here's the part that really grabs attention. It's 22 times higher than what the FDA has long maintained. For years, regulators reassured the public that the risk was less than 0.5%. But now, this massive data set suggests the reality is dramatically different. So what does this mean? It means that millions of women who trusted the safety claims surrounding this pill may have been misled. It also means that the conversation about abortion drugs isn't just political. It's personal, it's medical, and it's about the most basic principle of healthcare: do no harm. Think about it. If 11% of patients taking a widely used prescription drug suffered serious complications, wouldn't the public expect immediate action? Wouldn't you want the FDA to sound the alarm and demand tougher safeguards? Yet, despite this new evidence, we're left with silence, vague reassurances, and studies that are supposedly in progress.
To put that in perspective, that is 22 times higher than the FDA's long-standing estimate of less than 0.5%. While these findings alone are shocking, my conversations with those in the medical profession, credible medical professionals, lead me to believe that even this study may indeed underrepresent the scale of the problem. For years, we've heard the misleading and frankly very harmful lie that's being sold to women that this drug is, and I quote, safe as Tylenol. These lies sadly have real-world consequences. Just last year, 2 women died as a result of taking chemical abortion pills because they were able to access them without appropriate medical oversight. And by the way, that's all allowed by the FDA. Mr. Secretary, I am grateful that you and FDA Commissioner McCary have already begun the process of reviewing this new data on the safety of mifepristone. We talked about this during your confirmation hearing.
No in-person exams, no mandatory follow-up visits, no strict monitoring, just a pill mailed to your doorstep, marketed as safe, and yet the result for those 2 women was fatal. 2 lives ended not by choice, but by complications that could have been prevented with proper oversight. Now, let's pause here. If this had been any other drug, say a heart medication or a diabetes treatment, wouldn't we expect the FDA to issue urgent warnings to pull back access until more studies were done? Wouldn't lawmakers rush to hold hearings demanding accountability? And wouldn't the media cover it with the urgency it deserves? Instead, we're watching a silence that feels almost deliberate, as if admitting the truth about these risks would unravel a carefully built narrative. That silence raises serious questions.
My question is, could you provide any updates on the status and the scope of that review and whether the FDA intends to replicate studies like the one that I referenced?
I think those are, I don't know if they're going to do an insurance claim study. That's one way to do it. I don't know exactly whether they're doing epidemiological studies or observational studies. I don't know exactly what they're doing, but I know I talked to Marty McCary about it yesterday, And he said those studies are progressing and that they're ongoing. So I will keep your office informed at every stage.
Thank you. And I've had a really constructive conversation with the FDA commissioner as well, McCary. And I mean, here's a very smart, data-focused, sincere type of leader. And we had a really good conversation. I want to encourage those conversations with you, Mr. Secretary, and that there's a follow-up here to make sure that the data that we now have exposed will be studied by the FDA and the appropriate actions considered. Given the legitimate safety concerns surrounding mifepristone and your actions to roll back other COVID emergency measures, will you repeal the COVID-era telemedicine allowance, given that we're repealing these COVID-era regulations and emergency measures? Would you repeal the COVID-era telemedicine allowance for chemical abortion drugs and restore the requirement for an in-person doctor visit?
Senator, I need to get back to you on that. I don't know if the White House has yet taken a position on that, but we will get back to you this week about that.
Okay, all right.
Right now, one of the most pressing questions in Washington is whether the FDA and the Department of Health will step up and take responsibility for the safety concerns surrounding chemical abortion pills. Lawmakers are pushing hard for answers, especially after that alarming new study showing far higher complication rates than previously reported, and the spotlight is on Health Secretary Kennedy and FDA Commissioner McCary. Will they acknowledge the risks, and more importantly, will they take action, or will this debate get buried under political pressure and bureaucratic delays? At the heart of this issue is the COVID-era rule change that allowed telemedicine to replace in-person doctor visits for abortion pills. That means a woman can have a virtual consultation, or sometimes no consultation at all, and then receive the pills through the mail, no physical exam, no hands-on medical oversight, and no guaranteed follow-up. It was originally framed as a convenience during the pandemic, a way to keep healthcare accessible when the country was in lockdown, but here's the dramatic twist. Even as the pandemic has ended, those rules remain in place. So the question is clear. Should the FDA roll back this emergency allowance, or is convenience being prioritized over women's safety?
Thank you. I want to close with a quick Montana question. Earlier this week, the state of Montana submitted a Medicaid demonstration waiver application to CMS to strengthen the state's Medicaid expansion program. This waiver seeks to require community engagement and enhance cost sharing for working-age, able-bodied adults enrolled in the program. I applaud our governor, Gianforte, and Director Brereton for their proactive leadership in this space. My question is, Mr. Secretary, could you commit that CMS will work quickly in its consideration of Montana's waiver application?
Absolutely. It sounds like the kind of waiver that we're looking for.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Secretary.